Hello everybody, John Felt here, and this is the Mershman Seed Weekly Weather Briefing, June 29th, 2019. Well, I'm sure you've noticed it, but summer is here, high heat and humidity over most of the region, and it looks like that's here to stay, which we'd expect this time of year for the most part. Now, I have mainly positive news. The last couple weeks I've sort of taken that tone, and I think I'm going to take that tone again. But there are some exceptions, and I hope to bring those out as well. So precipitation over the last week, you can see it was relatively scattered. Matter of fact, if you look at the southeast U.S., you look at all this popcorn type precipitation, sort of hit and miss. That's a sign of summer. Now over the upper Midwest, we've had these mesoscale systems, and they're scattered as well, but they impact more areas. We've had these northwest to southeast moving systems. Here's one that moved around St. Louis. Here's another one a little bit more scattered. So some areas get a lot of rain with that and others not. But overall, we had much less rain. Let's just look at Iowa, for example. This area of green is about a ½ inch to 1 inch, and most summers, if we get that each week, that would be pretty good. But this area here, 2 to 3 inches of rain, maybe not so much needed. And then down to the south, again, this area's got a lot of rain. So more positive than not, we're not getting the everyday widespread rain. And if crops have gotten in most areas they had, last I saw was 96%. With some sun and some heat, we're doing okay. And with soil moisture as good as it is, it's going to tap that soil moisture. It's going to sustain us as we go through the summer. One change from a couple weeks ago, the dew points are way up there now in the 70s in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Look at Iowa, 77 dew point. Now, why do you think it's that high? Well, think of all that moisture we've had this spring. We're going to see a lot higher dew points this spring than we've seen in other years. The other thing we're seeing with these high dew points is the overnight low temperatures not dropping as much. That's going to be staying up. It's going to increase our growing degree days. And it's also going to help us continue to warm soil temperatures. So temperatures last week were a bit below normal with some clouds and rainfall over the Corn Belt. And soil moisture, like I said, is also adequate over the entire Corn Belt. Now, there are a couple spots that are still running unusually high, and these are areas in blue, and these are probably areas where there's been a little bit more trouble getting into the fields and lagging conditions right through the western Corn Belt and parts of these areas here, southeast Iowa, parts of Illinois, and along the Ohio River. The positive aspect of this is this represents not only a full recharge of upper soil, but lower soil. So when roots get down and tap that, we sustain the moisture supply, looks to me like through most of the summer. So we might actually be looking at very significant improvements in crop condition over the next couple weeks. Now, rivers are running quite high still. We're draining all that water out of the rivers. Locally, we're seeing some rises, but most of the river systems are falling. I wanted to show you the change in soil temperature over the last couple weeks. This was on the 19th, and look at it now. We've brought these 70-degree readings way up here now into the Dakotas, into parts of Minnesota, so we've really increased the soil temperatures over the last couple of weeks. Now, much of the nation is going to be dominated by a range of high pressure, very minimal jet energy. The precipitation in summertime is associated with jet energy. So if we don't have much jet energy aloft, precipitation is going to be very scattered, hit or miss, or none at all. The severe storms and the more widespread precipitation will be associated with where we have that jet energy. So what do we see here? We see this ridge of high pressure. Here it is right here. Pushes off to the west with time. But over the upper Midwest, we actually increase our jet energy as we get over the next couple weeks. We don't have much of a dip in the jet stream, but the overall activity remains fairly strong jet energy. Now let's take a look at what happens with temperatures. Well, we start off with these temperatures very hot and humid over the area, but gradually as we get into week 2, as we get that jet stream dropping south a bit, we lower our temperatures, get back to normal in week 2, and maybe even below normal over the upper Midwest. Now precipitation, at least for the next 7 days, will be with that jet energy over the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. That's pretty typical for the middle of the summer. It's a little bit early actually. But this is that type of pattern. We could get severe storms, we could get flooding in those areas. So week 1, especially the eastern Corn Belt, above normal temperatures. Week 2, we start to bring a little bit of a dip in the jet stream, and it cools things off on week 2. Precipitation, 6 to 10 day. You can see we do have a chance of precipitation above normal in green in week 2. So assuming we get that crop growing well, we keep the temperatures in check, and we bring in some rainfall. I think we're going to have a lot of chances of days as we get, this is generally later in the period, in the 6 to 10 day, into week 2, where we will have a chance of precipitation. Now, as far as threats go, I wanted to show you the next 3 days where we have the chance of precipitation. And what we're getting is we're getting these systems here, these mesoscale systems moving southeast. This is as of this morning, enhanced risk. But look at this, heavy rain July 1st through 5th. And again, these are these northwest, southeast moving systems, and they could produce some heavy rain in those areas. So we still have to watch out for the heavy rain. Looks like the area of high pressure to the south is going to keep the rainfall well below normal over the southern tier, but over the upper Midwest, we could still get some action. So as we go forward towards the 4th of July, it looks like it's going to be more regional type systems, and what I mean by that is affecting smaller parts of the Corn Belt. Hopefully it won't be persistent over multiple days where we could get into some problems again, but right now it looks more regionalized, and we'll be watching that as we go forward. Hope you all have a great 4th of July, and I'll be talking with you again next weekend. Take care.